You think you understand power. You think you understand influence. But the truth is, most of what you believe about attraction, control, and desire is a comforting lie. You walk through life believing that people act rationally, that love is innocent, that trust is sacred. And yet, beneath every smile lies a hidden calculus, a quiet game of dominance and surrender, a battlefield of subtle manipulations that most never notice until it's too late. If you want to control the world around you, especially the most elusive and dangerous element of it, a woman, you must first confront the uncomfortable truth: people are not allies, they are puzzles. Every word, every glance, every gesture is a chess piece waiting to be moved. Machiavelli knew this. And those who study his laws, those who embrace the dark art of influence, rarely lose. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Everyone is talking, everyone is smiling, yet nobody is honest. There is noise, and there is signal. And the signal is invisible. Women, like men, are masters of this noise. But unlike men, their power is often veiled in subtlety. You will not control her by force. You will not control her by logic. You will control her by understanding the invisible threads that guide her choices. These threads have existed since the dawn of civilization. They are patterns of human behavior that respond not to reason, but to perception, to power, to fear, and to desire. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched. Yet desire itself is a battlefield, and only those who see its mechanics can hope to navigate it. Begin with the law of unpredictability. Humans, and women in particular, are drawn to what they cannot predict. You must never be fully known. To be predictable is to be tamed, and to be tamed is to be defeated. Consider Machiavelli's own advice to princes. Let your actions be like water, sometimes calm, sometimes a storm. Let her never know whether she will find comfort or chaos, mystery or revelation. This does not mean cruelty, nor does it mean manipulation for its own sake. It means mastery of presence. You are a force of nature, not a fixed landscape. And when she senses this, when she perceives the shifting patterns beneath your surface, she will begin to chase what she cannot grasp. But beware, there is another truth lurking: unpredictability, when used poorly, becomes instability, and the line between fascination and fear is razor thin. The second principle is the law of scarcity. People value what they cannot easily possess. Every psychologist will tell you availability diminishes desire. Machiavelli, centuries before modern social science, understood that scarcity breeds power. You must never be perpetually present. Absence is not abandonment. It is a tool of influence. A man who is always available is a man without value. To control influence over a woman, you must learn the rhythm of presence and withdrawal. Appear when your presence has weight. Disappear when your absence will stir reflection. Desire grows in the vacuum of uncertainty. The mind creates the thing it cannot have, embellishing it, worshipping it, fearing it. And here lies a dangerous temptation. To exploit this law is to flirt with obsession. There is a fine line between admiration and dependence, and the most skilled practitioners walk it with a surgeon's precision. Next is the law of perception. Reality is subjective. What she believes is real, she acts upon, regardless of the truth. Machiavelli advised rulers to control appearances, for appearances are often more potent than reality. Your words, your gestures, your very aura must create the perception you wish to embed. Confidence, mystery, emotional restraint, these are not merely traits, they are tools. To be desired, you must be seen as more than you are, yet never so much that illusion collapses. Control the story, and you control the battlefield. Every conversation, every interaction, every silence is an opportunity to craft a narrative that casts you in the role of power, influence, and intrigue. But remember, perception is volatile. The smallest misstep can unravel it like a thread pulled from a tapestry. Emotional leverage is another pillar of influence. People, particularly women, are drawn to intensity, to experiences that awaken feeling. Machiavelli understood the utility of emotions in governance: anger, fear, desire, hope. They are levers to move the masses. In interpersonal influence, emotional intensity is no less potent. Create moments that linger, moments that ignite curiosity, admiration, or even subtle jealousy. Do not be predictable in emotional expression. A calm demeanor punctuated by rare, controlled bursts of passion or intensity is far more powerful than constant display. Yet, intensity must be precise. Too little, and you are forgettable. Too much, and you are overwhelming. Mastery lies in the calibration of emotional signals to the exact frequency that compels attention without triggering resistance. But this is only the beginning. Emotional leverage is dangerous, for it can turn the puppet into the master, if underestimated. The next law is strategic listening. Words are currency, but silence is power. Every statement a woman makes carries information, desires, fears, insecurities, and ambitions. To dominate influence, you must listen more than you speak. Not just superficially, but with intent, analyzing patterns, understanding triggers, noting vulnerabilities. Your responses must be measured, deliberate, and in harmony with the narrative you are crafting. Like a chess grandmaster, you anticipate moves before they are made. A whisper can wield more power than a roar, if timed with precision. And yet, there is a deeper danger hidden here. The act of listening is also the act of reflection. To understand is to empathize, and empathy without discipline can breed attachment, a weakness no master of influence can afford. Control through autonomy is subtle yet devastating. No one respects those who cling. Autonomy commands reverence. A woman is more likely to gravitate toward a man who has his own passions, his own life, his own unyielding trajectory. Machiavelli noted that men who appear self-contained inspire loyalty not through fear, but through respect. Your mission is not to stifle her independence, but to subtly mirror the same freedom within yourself, creating an aura of mystery and self-possession. When she senses your autonomy, her mind begins to unconsciously align with your rhythm, seeking validation not through her dominance over you, but through her recognition of your indifference. But there is a hidden peril here. Autonomy must be authentic. Feigned independence collapses instantly, revealing desperation beneath the mask. The law of contrast is a tool often overlooked. Human attention is drawn to difference, to deviation from expectation. Be the exception, not the rule. If all men are predictable, be unpredictable. If all men are visible, be hidden. If all men are pliable, be steadfast. Machiavelli understood that perception of power is often a game of comparison. Your uniqueness, when strategically displayed, amplifies your presence beyond measure. Women, like all humans, are instinctively attracted to the rare, the novel, the extraordinary. You are the shadow in a room of faces, the silent observer amidst noise. Yet, contrast must be applied like a scalpel, not a hammer. Too much deviation becomes chaos, and chaos is ignored, not revered. Next, you must understand the power of subtle reward and calculated denial. Humans are conditioned by reinforcement. Pleasure creates repetition. Denial creates desire. To master influence, your validation must be earned. Your attention must be coveted. Machiavelli might have called it strategic generosity. Never offer everything, and never offer it predictably. Let moments of connection feel like treasure, rare, coveted, and significant. When your presence, your words, your touch, or your approval is intermittent yet meaningful, she begins to assign value to it far beyond its objective worth. Desire thrives in scarcity, and attention becomes a commodity more potent than gold. But heed this warning: if the rewards are too sparse or inconsistent, frustration overtakes desire. Mastery lies in precision timing. You must also master the art of narrative projection. Humans are storytellers by nature. Women construct mental narratives around every encounter. If you wish to influence, you must guide these narratives. Craft situations, words, and gestures that align with the story you wish her to perceive. Make her see you as the hero, the enigma, the challenge, the prize. Control the story, and you control perception, which in turn guides behavior. History is written by those who control narrative. The microcosm of attraction is no different. Yet, there is danger in narrative manipulation. Should she detect your hand too clearly, the illusion shatters, leaving only resentment and mistrust. Patience is the final law, though often the most underestimated. Influence is rarely immediate. It is a slow accumulation, a layering of perception, emotion, and subtle control over time. Machiavelli advised rulers to act with calculated timing, striking only when advantage is maximized. In personal dynamics, this is no different. Impulsivity erodes power. Temperance, silence, and strategic pacing cultivate an aura of inevitability. When your influence is fully realized, it appears as though it always existed, as if her desires were your orchestration from the beginning. But patience tests even the strongest will. Most falter, revealing their hand before the moment is ripe. Only those who endure, who resist the temptation of early gratification, achieve true command. We have now explored laws of unpredictability, scarcity, perception, emotional leverage, strategic listening, autonomy, contrast, calculated reward, narrative projection, and patience. But there is a final, terrifying truth that underpins all of this. Control is an illusion, and the truly dangerous mastery lies not in domination, but in influence so subtle it becomes indistinguishable from consent. The greatest victories are those that appear self-directed, where she believes she is the author of her choices, even as you have guided every step. Machiavelli understood that visible force is weak. Invisible force is eternal. To control is to shape the landscape without leaving footprints, to bend the tides without creating ripples. And now, as the shadows deepen and the lines between desire and strategy blur, consider this: every interaction you have, every glance you exchange, every word you speak is a potential battlefield. You are constantly being assessed, measured, and responded to. Mastery lies in understanding that influence is not a weapon to wield recklessly, but a science to practice relentlessly. History, psychology, and the raw mechanics of human behavior all converge into a singular truth. Those who understand these laws shape reality itself, while those who ignore them are swept aside by currents they cannot perceive. But there is still a deeper truth we haven't touched, a truth that only the boldest dare to confront. The world does not reward innocence, it rewards cunning, perception, and relentless understanding. If you have followed the thread of this argument, if you have allowed yourself to confront these uncomfortable truths, then you understand what few do: control, influence, desire. They are inseparable, and mastery requires discipline, observation, and a relentless commitment to subtlety. There are no shortcuts, no ethical illusions to cling to move through the human world effectively. You must be both a philosopher and a strategist, a scholar and a tactician. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Stoics later echoed it in silence. And now, as you listen, you too can begin to grasp the structure beneath the chaos. But mastery is meaningless without application. Knowledge without execution is mere vanity. Remember, unpredictability draws desire. Scarcity increases value. Perception overrides reality. Emotional intensity creates leverage. Strategic listening reveals the map of her mind. Autonomy commands respect. Contrast ensures attention. Reward and denial manipulate longing. Narrative projection guides her story. Patience ensures inevitability. And through all of it, subtle influence masquerades as free will. These are the invisible laws, the dark undercurrents of psychology and human interaction. They are not evil, they are natural, they are survival. To ignore them is to surrender to randomness, to walk blind in a world where vision is the ultimate advantage. And yet, every advantage comes with risk. Every law can be misused, every tactic can backfire, every perception can collapse. The balance is delicate, the practice relentless, the rewards profound. So, if you are willing to confront reality without illusions, if you are willing to observe without attachment, if you are willing to act with the precision of a master tactician, then these laws are not just concepts, they are tools. Tools to navigate desire, influence behavior, and understand the subtle mechanics of human interaction. They are mirrors, reflecting the raw truth of power, attraction, and psychology. And as you wield them, remember this: the world does not bend for the timid, the knave, or the blind. It bends for those who see clearly, act decisively, and master the invisible currents of influence. Let your presence be like water, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy, always necessary, impossible to fully grasp, yet shaping everything in its path. And in doing so, you return to the first truth. You think you understand power. You think you understand influence. But the truth is, most of what you believe about attraction, control, and desire is a comforting lie.